Hello, hello, and welcome to this Candid Conversations. I'm so happy that you chose to be here today and spend the next hour this much controversial conversation about whether or not you would prefer to know if you had 1 month to live. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So, if you had 1 month to live, would you want to know? Or would you prefer not to know? Experience tells that when we are faced with our own mortality, we start looking at life from a totally different perspective. At least it was like that for me. So, on this Candid Conversations, we are going to talk about the pros and cons of being told how long you have to live after being diagnosed with a terminal disease. And so, some other questions to consider would be what would you do if you found out? How would you spend your time? Who would you spend it with? What are the things you'd start doing right away? So, for me, this facing with my own mortality actually happened 4 years ago. I'm going to tell you that little story in a bit. I just want to make sure that we say hi to everybody who's watching this conversation as as we are live. And I want to thank you for being here. And I want to thank you in advance for your participation because honestly, the more of you participate, the more we can learn from one another. And so I'm hoping that you would be calling. Actually, I'm gonna also put my phone number here so that you can actually call. Let me just put this number here. This is on WhatsApp. If you want to call me on WhatsApp during the show, you can do that and participate as we do the show together. And everybody can hear you, and everybody can also benefit from your experiences. What if you had 1 month to live? Now, I'm not going to tell you that's what I thought, but 4 years ago, when I came back from a trip, I got really, really sick. And the doctors couldn't tell me what was wrong. We did all sorts of tests. I was really sick and I was bedridden. I want to say for about 3 to 4 weeks. I couldn't eat. Um, I couldn't walk. I was in bed. I've never, ever felt so sick in my life. And so I thought I was going to die. And one day I walked over to the bathroom mirror and I looked into my own really, really sunken eyes. And for one moment, I felt the urge to look up as if I was looking up to my higher power. Until that moment, I had not experienced that ever. I was not a spiritual person. So I looked up and I felt this urge of saying, really surrendering, okay, I get it. I get it. I may actually die. What am I supposed to learn from this lesson? And so it was until that moment that I really thought, okay, this might actually happen. I might actually die really soon because I have no idea what this is. And so if I die, am I in peace with this? So that was my experience. And that was my point of awakening. I call that my my spiritual awakening. That was the moment I decided that I am no longer going to waste a moment of my life. And that was my lesson. But that's not for everybody, right? Not everyone looks at this the same way. And so I was lucky that I didn't die. I was lucky that I wasn't That wasn't my time. The reason I picked this conversation today is because one of my loved ones in my family, in my extended family, has been diagnosed with a stage um, 4 cancer. And the doctors have told this person that time is limited. And so I was thinking, what are there pros to this? If not, what are the cons to this? Why do doctors feel like they have to tell the patients how long they have to live? And I thought this would be a really good conversation. I put this on Facebook and I got a lot of comments from you. So I'm so glad that you are here joining me. I want to make sure I go through the comments. And if you are here watching, please do leave a comment so I know you're with me here. I've got Deborah here. Howdy, my friend. And Deborah says, I don't care either way because I've always lived my life like it could be my last. And this, wow, what a fabulous philosophy this is, Deborah. Steven, got your voicemail. Oh, Steven, I will. Yes, thank you for calling the show. I will let you know when it's time to take calls. And so I will make sure that I take your call actually as you want to participate. Thank you. Okay. And I've got Tammy here and I've got a YouTube viewer as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please press that subscribe button and make sure that you comment and like this also because this will really help promote the show and get me more viewers. I really appreciate it. So here we go. There was an article actually on National Post. And it was about this exact same topic, right? Not all doctors agree that telling a patient the truth is really what they need to be doing. I know that we are promoting honesty, but sometimes telling the patient the truth doesn't really help. And so, if the doctors say you'll probably be dead in 6 months, what do you think is going to happen? If that was you, how do you think you would feel? How do you think you would cope? And so I this is the question I want to put out to you. I'm asking you, there's a danger in crushing a person's hope for living. Because we all know, I mean, I know this, that my mind believes everything I tell it. So if I keep telling my mind that I'm going to be dead in 6 months, what are the chances of me living longer than 6 months? And so, you know what? I want to put this out to you. What do you think? What do you want? If you had 6 months to live, or if you had a month to live, or whatever, would you want to know? So, phone lines are open. You can call me on WhatsApp at 1-647-283-6571. You can also try calling on Messenger. I've never actually used Messenger on this show to see if I can take phone calls on Messenger. But yeah, call me during the show. Now, let's look at some pros, shall we? Okay. Let's say, doctor says you have a month to live. And so what are some positives that could happen from this sort of honest conversation? Okay. I'm thinking, yes, so some pros, right? Oh, there he is. Thank you for calling back.
Well, of course. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I would like our some of our viewers to drop a comment in the box that they can hear you, but I can hear you just fine. So it's
Well, good.
yes, that's very nice talking to you, Stephen.
Oh, you too.
So
I always enjoy your show.
I really appreciate you commenting and always sharing your experience during the shows. It's very nice to finally talk to you.
Well, like the message I sent you, I really don't expect you to respond to every comment. It's just when I get something in my head, I have to get it out.
Well, I try my best to go through all the comments.
I do appreciate it, but it's not expected.
Oh, thank you very much. So, you had some interesting comments about this topic. First of all, how does this resonate with you?
Oh, well, I would want to know. And I mean, I know like for my own mom, whenever she found out, because she had cirrhosis of the liver and had to have a transplant. Then they found out she had breast cancer and they did the surgeries and all that kind of good stuff. But I used to be a medic and I was in school and everything, and I understood what all the numbers meant. So she had to go see the doctor again. So she wanted me to go with her. The doctor sat there and told her they found breast cancer again, but they found it in her leg. And she looked at me and said, What do I do?" And I just looked at her and said, "Go have fun. Go visit all the people you've been wanting to visit, but haven't done it because you didn't feel like you had the time. So go do it." I would want to know, and I'm glad I was there for her because I know how she reacted. She's one of those kind of people that when if you say you've only got a month to live, she's gonna die in a month because mentally she's just gonna create it. She's gonna make it happen
Hmm.
because she's gonna give up and quit trying.
Yes, yes, and that's
You
that's
know,
that's my worry, right? Because I mean, when someone tells you you have a month to live, this is your doctor telling you you have a month to live, and so you believe that.
well, yeah, but not everybody does because I've had a doctor tell me something before, and I turned around and I flashed him my butt and I said, "Show me the expiration date. Show me where it's stamped on my butt when the day comes."
Hmm. So you'd rather know,
I would absolutely rather know.
and what would you do with
I'm
that
not,
time?
I would spend as much time with my family as possible, and I would just do everything I could to make sure that things were right with everybody that I knew. Whatever hard feelings might have been out there still, I'd try to get all that straightened back out and cleaned up.
Hmm. And so I'm gonna give you another question then.
Sure.
So why wait?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not really waiting for that day to come or whatever, but I mean, ideally, you would go ahead and do all that now,
I know, right?
because you never know. I mean, I've had two strokes, so I had two chances that I may not have had a chance to tell anybody anything. So you never know what's going to happen or when it could happen.
Yes.
How, why. There's thousands of people all over the world every day that get up and go to work and everything else, and they fully expected to come back home and they didn't make it.
Yes.
So yeah, there's no reason to wait.
There's no reason to wait. I know. And we know that, right? We know that. Like I mean, I could anything at any moment could happen and it's done.
Yeah.
Nobody has I mean, not everyone has a set expiration date. I don't think anyone does. Yeah, but somehow we keep postponing things.
Yeah. Well, people spend too much time worrying about stuff, and half the time it's not even their business to even worry about. I mean, like with my story that I sent you,
Yes.
I spent many, many years hating my father. But then after I finally took the time to sit down and talk to him and relax a little bit and have a discussion, I found out that a lot of the memories that I thought I had weren't actually mine. They were my mom's. Yes, she was bitter and, she'd had a right to be, but a lot of those memories and things that happened weren't even mine. Actually, they were hers.
Isn't that
It was not my burden to carry.
interesting? Yes, and you went through that forgiveness process.
Well, yeah. And now I've got two sisters I would have never known before, and I got an uncle I would have never known that before if I
Yes.
hadn't taken the time to talk to him.
Mhm. Thank you, Stephen.
Sure, anytime.
It was very nice having you on here. This is really cool. I really like this whole technology thing, don't you?
Yeah. Well, just so you know, I'm calling through Messenger, so it does work.
So it does work, people. If you're watching this on Facebook, it does work on Messenger. That's perfect. Thank you, Stephen.
Absolutely.
Have a blessed day, my friend.
Oh, you take care, dear.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
And so just like that, you can participate in the show. Tammy says she would like to know. I think most people I've put this out to, they say they would like to know. Well, is there any moment? Is there any circumstance that you can think of that knowing would not be helpful? What if this person is, in, I don't know, they're really older and they're very weak, and they're already not doing well, and emotionally and mentally, what if that's the case? Do you think they should know? I don't know. I feel like it is so dependent on whether or not this person is mentally strong. It's a very delicate subject, right? So, I mean, so many things could affect this. You can have someone who is so mentally tough, and they as soon as they hear the news, and I've heard this so many times before. People have been given 6 months to live, and here they are 10 years later, just thriving in life. That person says, "No, there's no way. I'm not taking this diagnosis. I'm going to do everything I can to heal myself. And so, regardless of whether you think that you can help me or not, I'm going to help myself." And here they are 10 years later, thriving, right? So, I'm going to read some of these actually these notes that I've made. Okay. So, some of the pros, and I think, I don't know, you tell me if you agree or not. So, some of the pros to recognize here, right? So if you know your time is coming, your ticket's expiring, maybe it's good that you have time to reorganize a more practical bucket list. We all have our bucket list, the things we want to do, the places we want to go, those things we want to write, and those things we want to accomplish. And, we've given ourselves our entire lifetime, and who knows what that lifetime is for each one of us. And so we have these things we want to do, but we wait and we wait and we wait. And some of them are like, going on a trip around the world, but some of them are really easy. Like, I don't know, starting a food drive, because that's on my bucket list. When you only have so much time to live, you go through that bucket list and say, okay, this one I can do now, this one I can do now, this one I can do now. And maybe this one, it's not that important. So it gives you time to do that. What do you think? And I mean, this is really cool. I think having this conversation also brings us to the notion that, not to the notion, because we all know, right? No one gets out of this life alive. But I think it might just make us more aware that, oh yeah, this could happen. Let me just let me look at my bucket list. I am so doing that after the show. Let me see here. Deborah says, I have seen so many doctors get it wrong many times and destroy people's lives. I'm not a believer of guessing how long one has. Yes, Deborah, yes, Deborah is the perfect person to talk on this, because she was a nurse for such a long time. And so I'm sure you've seen a lot of people get the wrong diagnosis on how long they had to live and what effects it would have on that person. I mean, I can only imagine people would take this so differently, right? I mean, think about this. People were so different. And these doctors, I feel for them, honestly. Um, I don't think any doctor started this career thinking that they're going to announce to someone that they're going to die soon. I think they all started thinking they're going to save lives. And so this must be so tough. How do you do that? How do you tell someone that they only have a month to live, right? And what kind of reactions do you get? I mean, I can imagine people's reactions are so different. And Deborah, you would know that. I mean, you would have lots of stories on this. But definitely, yes, doctors getting it wrong would definitely destroy a life. Or is there another perspective to look at this? Deborah also says, love Stephen. He's an amazing man and friend. Stephen says, doctors think everyone should have the opportunity One person might give up, the next person might fight harder. True. Doctors play the odds just like Vegas, except doctors are betting lives, not money. True. The second pro I think that I can think of is, you know, you have time to get things in order. Right? How many times we say, "Oh, I'm going to write a will." And we don't, cuz it's not an easy thing to do, right? And we don't. And so we keep postponing. So maybe getting things in order like finances and such, you know, to make it easier for our loved ones, because, we don't want them to have the stress, and we don't want to leave them with stuff that weren't taken care of. Are your finances in order? I'm just putting it out there. Do you have a will? It's really important. I don't know about you, but writing a will was one of the hardest things I I did. I'm telling you. And these lawyers they ask you these difficult questions, like really difficult questions, and sometimes I mean, it's hard to answer those questions. But do you have a will? Because it's very important. Stephen says today's as good a day as any other to use the good dishes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. Those good dishes that are kept in that, the upper upper cabinet where you can't reach them. You gotta actually use a ladder to go up there and get them, because they're for special people. Right? Get them out there. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see if so the third pro that I can think of, and some of our viewers have already touched on that, making amends, right? Making amends to those people that maybe, you know, something happened and it just seemed so grave at the time, but right now, looking at how much time you have, it's not so important anymore. It's not so important in a whole scheme of things. And making amends would mean that you leave um, knowing that you are, in peace. I think that's really important. So you have time to make amends, right? How about being able to prepare yourself mentally and, prepare yourself to accept the fact that, yeah, this is happening. Can I just, I mean, I want to say this, and I don't know how you feel with dying. I For a very long time, I was so afraid of dying. I would play these scenarios in my head of, me dying. And then I would be so afraid. I would really get upset. I would even cry because the idea of leaving, the idea of death was really scary to me. I think over time I have come to terms with this idea that, you know what, it is a part of life, um, and it's a sure thing. It will happen because I've accepted that I'm here. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I truly believe this, that, this is just a part of my journey. It's not my entire journey. And so I've come here to experience this physical sensation. And then when my time is up, and when I've fulfilled all my lessons and accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish, you know, I'm talking now spiritually, that it is time to leave, right? It is time to go. And so ever since I've come to accept that, or to accept that philosophy, it's not as hard for me to deal with the idea of death. So I think it has helped me a lot, knowing that, my ticket is expiring in a month or two or 6 months or whatever. It would give me time to prepare myself to accept this idea. And so I think that's a positive aspect of knowing. What do you think about this? Let's see what's in the comments here. Have a will and life insurance. All bills will be paid when time comes. Also says, I've also had to talk with family as to my wishes. I don't want them to have to guess. So important. I've seen this personally, and it's been devastating for the family. This idea that, nobody knew for sure. They all guessed, and no, it was hard to really agree on things because everybody thought they knew best. So having definitely a will to is really helpful for the family, so they're not, in so much stress after. Yeah, it's really rough on them. Steven says, I worked at a casket factory and walked many families through the final arrangements process. It's really rough on them. It's very, very rough on them. I know. Yes, yes. In my career as a florist, I dealt with a lot of families who were making floral arrangements for for their loved one. And so I've seen that a lot. I think death of a loved one is never easy, whether you know it's coming or not, for sure. It's a devastating part of life. Um, take a phone call. Thanks for calling Candid Conversations with Dela. Hi, my friend.
Hey, can you hear me?
Can hear you now.
Perfect. What I wanted to say is I love your shows,
Thank
for
you.
one. I always love what you do.
Thank you.
Your brain always seems to come up with such incredible ideas and stuff. It's amazing.
Thank
And you're touching so many people. But what I wanted to say is my aspect would be totally opposite of Stevens in some areas because I don't think I need to know because I already know. And I believe in a way that I've gotten to that way of living because of going into nursing very young. I was right out of high school. I saw so much death, so much suffering, so much wasted time, so much loss of families and things that they should have done, wanted to do. So I've always preached to everybody I know and my children and my husband, we have to live like there is no tomorrow.
you.
And there's Megan Trailor's song, I'm gonna love you like you're dying tomorrow or something. I've I really connect with that because a lot of times people can get caught up in that date and get focused on fixing something that shouldn't be fixed or it isn't important because they're doing it for other people. I've seen families get destroyed because they knew they had 1 month left to live and they tried to make amends with people around them, and these people don't care. In the end, they haven't connected with them, they've not come to the hospital, they've not allowed that person to make those amends, and that person dies, and many times in my arms because I was a hospice nurse saying, I wish I hadn't wasted so much time trying to make that right with them. And I wish I had taken more time reading the book I wanted to read or watching a movie I wanted to watch or talking to my husband more. And so that to me, sometimes giving somebody that date is harmful, but then I've seen it the other way too. So it's just our choice, on how we want to take that. For me, I make my amends and I do what I need to do every day when I get up and when I go to bed. And that's how I live my life. That's how my husband lives his life and my family and my children and that's the choice I've made. And I think it's because I've seen so much death.
Mhm. Mhm. Because it is like, I mean, we forget that it happens to every single one of us.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yes, we forget.
Yeah.
So when I said that my loved one has been diagnosed, and that they have given her a very short amount of time. But she's older and she's very weak and her mental state is not really that strong to be able to pull this information and, do something positive with it. What do you think in a case like this? I mean, do doctors ask the family if they should tell the patient that they only have a short amount of time, or is just a given, they just do?
It's a great question because good doctors will ask the family first. The good ones will. The old-fashioned doctors will. I don't know. The world has changed so much with medicine and doctors and how people approach the kindness and the nurturing that was in nursing is no longer there. I don't see it. But they should ask because they know their family and they would know whether it's something they could handle, or just let them talk to them about it. Make your amends with your family sitting next to you, not with the outside areas of that you want to connect with. Ask them, do you want me to leave a message? You want me to tell them something?
Mhm.
Because sometimes it is too much for them. And I think the doctors should always ask the family first, because sometimes you drop something on their lap and all they can think about is the bad things in their lives, and they won't focus and connect with transitioning peacefully. And I've seen people that have transitioned horribly and torturously because they're so busy trying to fix something else rather than enjoy the passage to another world, peacefully.
Yes.
So absolutely, they should always be checked with the family,
Mhm.
always.
Um, there were of all the times, of all the experiences that you've had, when you were a nurse, what if there was like a miracle story that comes to your mind, about someone who perhaps got a diagnosis and they lived longer and and they thrived. What comes to your mind?
Oh man, there's so many.
I know I'm putting
That's
you on your feet here.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the one that comes to me the most is always a young lady that I was assigned. She was a royal, from the royal family in Iran, and she had come to Port St. Lucie, where I used to live, and visited, and they went to Disney World and stuff. And she got in a car accident while they were there. She was 16 years old, and the doctors would tell the family that there was nothing to be done because the patient was basically comatose, not brain dead, mind you, but comatose. And they didn't foresee that she would wake up, because once your body starts to contort in and your muscles tighten up, you can pretty much say that that person has lost a lot of their brain capacity. But I've always learned in nursing school, the teacher I had said to me, "Don't ever talk in front of a patient, for one, because the hearing is the last thing that goes
Mm,
in us. Even when you're in a coma,
yes,
they
you
have come
still
out of it.
hear.
They come out and they say they remember."
Wow.
This young lady, the family did not hear what the doctor said. They heard it, but they said only their God would know when this young lady, and they talked to her. They sang to her. They pa- they did her hair and her nails, and they put the glitter nail polish on that she enjoyed, and the music, the American music. They used to say there were so many American songs she loved, and I would always tell all the nurses that would go in there, act and talk like that young lady's hearing you. And it, even the doctors told me one day bluntly, stop painting pretty pictures. I said, I'm not painting pretty pictures. I'm leaving this to God,
Yes.
and that's my choice. And he just pretty much didn't say anything else after that. But everybody presumed she was going to die, and they took her away to put her into a rehab center, where that's where they told the family she would probably pass on. And whoo, goosebumps. 4 months later comes the family walking down the hall with her in crutches, smiling, walking, not well, but walking and smiling, came to tell us thank you and said to me, "I remember you. You were the Italian lady that sang to me, and you were always so kind to my family." And she went on to lavish. I mean, she went to college. She graduated high school, went to college, and would send us cards every Christmas to the nursing station. And they never thought this woman would die. I mean, make it. They told the family this young girl was gone. That's just one story.
Wow.
Yeah.
The will to live, right?
Oh, amazing. Amazing. And also it's how you approach them. Don't sit by their bedside crying. You want to cry, step outside. If you want to
Yes.
say you're sad and you're worried, let them know you're sad and you're worried, but don't give them so much that they can't handle. And when you're crying, they're trying to feel your grief as well as their struggle. And never ever talk to patients that are, in a coma at the bedside. If ever, that's the biggest thing I could always say. If a doctor comes in or a nurse or anybody, tell them to get out and talk in a hallway.
Because they can hear you.
Oh, yeah. I've heard
Yes.
so many stories where they've said, "Oh my God, I remember hearing this. And I was so scared when the doctor told my mother this or that." And I'm like, shameful, shameful. We never should do that. We learned that 101 in nursing school. The hearing is the last thing to go.
Um, Deborah, knowing what you know now, if if you were a doctor and you found out a patient is diagnosed severely and that only has a certain amount of time, what would you do? How would your
Uh,
approach be?
my approach would be that they are critical and that it is a very serious condition that they're in. And normally most people don't make it, but it is not up to us because medicine can only diagnose. We can't really give you an exact time because it's all in the will of God and the spirit of the person. And if somebody doesn't believe in God, there's something they believe in. But it's the spirit and the fight in that person. I've seen people that shouldn't have made it, even elderly people. A lady that was 92 years old, and they told her she would never walk, she would never dance. She was a dancer all her life, and she wanted back surgery, and they told her not to do it. Just, at least she could be in a wheelchair. She said, "That's not life. God will take me if I'm supposed to be taken. I want this spinal surgery." And boy, oh boy, she fought. She came out. She was in a wheelchair and a lot of therapy. A year later, she was back on the dance floor and she was like 93 years old.
So she wanted to go dancing.
She wanted to go dancing. That was her life. She was a dancer, not professionally, but
Yes.
she said her husband used to dance, and she sent us pictures that she was dancing. She went to Fred Astaire's dance studio and she danced. So
That
that's the
see,
spirit. Yeah.
right, exactly. And some people have that. Some people can have that strong mental capacity to trust and to hope and to believe in something bigger than medicine and
Yes.
actually turn things around.
Absolutely, absolutely, and doctors don't have a crystal ball. I always say that. I've fought when there's so many doctors I have fought with. It's amazing I never got fired, but I think they respected, my beliefs. But I used to always tell them, you don't play God. Leave that to the real God, and let the patient do what they need to do. Give them a little hope. You have to give them some hope. You take their hope away, and that's could be
That's
devastating.
it. Life without hope is bullshit.
You got it, and I don't live in bullshit.
That's all. Deborah, you're so awesome. Thank you. Thank you so
You are
much.
You're so awesome too, and I love contributing, and I hope somebody gets something out of it because
Oh,
that's my thing in life. I'm like you.
thank
When I'm
you.
giving, I'm the happiest.
I know. I know. God bless you,
I
my
love you.
friend. I love you.
God bless you. And I'm so happy so many people I invited came on, and I'm going to share this out like crazy. I
Thank
love you.
you. Thank you. I love you. It's a great conversation, Deborah, as always.
Absolutely. Talk
Bye
to you later. Bye.
bye. Um, thanks. Thank you, Deborah. Just to let you know, if you're watching this, you can contribute to the show by calling on Messenger, Facebook, or the WhatsApp number that's scrolling by. Yeah, give us your comments and your experiences. I had a lot of people actually comment under the Facebook post that um, I had scheduled for this show, and I want to go there and actually share a comment from another Deborah, and also Jack. Jack was on there too. So Deborah, Deborah B. uh, said, I know all I need to know. There are many things I have learned living on the fringe of death and suffering. Before my father died, we had been estranged for 15 years. People told me I had to make amends. What if he died? But he had cut me off due to me uncovering a family secret. Anyways, I always knew we would solve it in spirit. A week before he died, he came to me in spirit. I heard his voice one morning begging me for my forgiveness. I said, Dad, there's nothing to forgive. It's okay, Dad. Um, all I felt was love. 2 weeks later, I heard my father had died. I trust I know all I need to know when I need it. It is all about trust and confidence in your spirituality awareness. And she said, a great conversation to have. Yes, thank you, Deborah. This is a very important conversation to have. And I know that it's not one that a lot of people like to have because we don't really want to talk about mortality. And so but it's a big part of it's a big part of it's a big part of life. It is. Jack said, I experienced this with my dad. At least you have a chance to say a proper goodbye. So this is his perspective that he agrees that people should know. So many people wish to have a chance to do that because they left the last conversation on a bad note. Yes. And so, I think I would want to know. Mm, if my time was limited, I think I would want to know. Um, perhaps don't give me an exact date, but I think I would want to know. At the same time, though, I believe that there's something higher in us, a higher power, if you want to call it your voice within, or your if you believe in spirituality, your spirit. I think we know if it's time for us to go or not. I do really believe that and if it's not, then I'm going to fight for it, damn it. I'm I'm going to do everything I can to heal myself, to do the right things, to bring back my health, to because I've seen it happen, and I believe in miracles. I believe in people being able to heal themselves. So yes, I would want to know. I would want to know so that I have time to do all these things, right? To reorganize my bucket list and to make amends and to get ready and to let people get ready. This is really important, I think, to believe in ourselves is something that takes a lot of work, and it's something that I've been working on for the past 4 years. And as time goes by, I every day I understand that I have so much to learn yet, and I have so much growing to do. And every single one of these conversations that we have allows us all to learn from one another. When people call the show, when people comment under the post, when you share this talk with other people, allowing them to perhaps get awareness. It's not something that that's on our mind, but can you imagine if someone who sees this says, "Oh, yeah, like I could just die like in a month or two, and oh, these are some things I can consider. These are some things that I can look at," and then it's like Deborah said, treat this like this is. Was it Deborah that said that? I can't remember anymore. Treat this like this is your last day. What if this was your last day? What would you do different if you knew you only had 1 month to live? Something good can come out of this, people. That's all I'm saying. At least for me, I am going to reconsider my bucket list, make it a little bit more reasonable, and start ticking things off. I've thought about starting a food drive for a very long time, and I kept postponing. I had my own reasons. I'm actually going to do that right away. I'm going to start it. So, what are some things that you've wanted to do? Some amazing things that you thought you would do, and you've just haven't done them because you have a lot of time. I have lots of time. Let's start doing them, right? Let's start doing them. That's all, folks. That's all. I think if anything that is going to come out of this talk today, if the only thing that comes out of this talk today is let me start treating today like it's the last day I'm going to have left. Oh, we'd have such different lives. I like that philosophy. Okay, let's see here if there's anything else that I've missed. Love Deborah B. She's incredible. I do too. And Stephen says, you can't control other people, but you need to try to release any frustrations you have. You can't control other people, definitely, but you need to try to release any frustrations you have. I don't know. I'm not clear on this. Deborah, thank you. She says, incredible show. As always, thank you so much. Stephen says, over a 5-year time frame, my grandfather was given a year to live several times. Yeah. So how did he use that 1 year every time he thought he only had 1 year? Because that's really important. Yeah. Start using the good dishes. Stephen says, I agree. Let's start using the good dishes. Let's not leave them for the day. Oh, for that special day. That special day is right now, because this very well be the very last day. We just don't know. And so this is not a morbid talk, people. This is just to bring awareness. And so our whole perspective changes if we think I'm that's it. I only have a day. What if I only had 1 day left? What would I do different? So much to think about. Deborah says, start saying I love you more. Yes. Start saying I love you more. To the people around you. Yes, start smiling more. Start enjoying what's around you more. There's so much beauty in just all around us. I swear, right now with the fall, I mean, Canadian fall is beautiful, especially in Ontario. If you've never been to Ontario, look up on Google, look at some pictures on Google. We have beautiful fall. And you see the colors of the leaves changing, and I have a beautiful red tree right now outside my door, and like the shades of red in this tree are amazing. And so the little things that could bring so much joy into our lives. And my thing is, live with just a little bit more joy today. One thing I heard from somebody was, how am I going to make this a better day um, for not just me, but for everyone? Darn it, I think it was my husband who said that. How could I make this a better day for everyone? And so, oh my gosh, if we could just ask that question more often. Ah, what a world this would be. Well, our time is up. Thank you so much for joining another Candid Conversation. I so appreciate being here. I so appreciate being able to have controversial conversations like this. It just because it allows us to grow, and it allows us to see things from different perspective. And that's what's important, right? That's how we learn from one another. So I want to thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Deborah says we need a part 2 of this. Definitely. These conversations can go on forever. I want to thank every single one of you for spending your hour with me. I want to wish you a blessed rest of your day. I hope that wherever you are in this world, you are blessed with joy, with peace, with health, because that's so important. I love you very much, and I hope to see you very soon. Thank you. A special thanks to Stephen and Deborah for calling the show and adding so much. I really appreciate you. Bye bye.
Every single person in this world has a story to share. Your story is your superpower, and it's unique to you. In sharing it with the world, you can impact millions of people. If you keep it to yourself, you are doing the world a disservice. This is Dela. I'm the host of Dela's Voice, and I help you share your superpower with the world.